Yo, what up, what up, what up? This is RJ Fantasy Football Talk, and we are back, y'all. We are back. I mean, we like to take our breaks,
Yes.
we deserve it. We work hard. Everybody got things going on in life, but hey, we back, man. You know who it is, man. This is the J over here.
What's
What's
up?
going on, man?
I am done with fantasy. This is going to be the last show, I think. I'm done with
Yeah.
fantasy life. The last we talked, America, I was telling you how I was number one in my fantasy hockey league.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know I was
You know,
number one the entire season in fantasy hockey? Got to the playoffs, had a bye week, and lost in the semifinals like immediately. So if you remember, that's exactly what happened to me in fantasy football this year. I was number one, and what was it, the barbershop? I think, it was in the barbershop where I was number one the
mm-hmm.
whole season and lost. So hockey, football is all the same. I'm good until it's. I am the Caitlin Clark of fantasy football. I get all the way down there and then I lose. That's what I'm trying to tell everybody. But it's good to see you. See how y'all welcome. What's up? I see Orlando Lewis out there. I see Will Hayes.
What's up,
Good to
Will?
have
What's
y'all
going?
join us. Um, man, it's been a long break, but it's been a good one. Like you said, we work hard during the fantasy football season. Take some time off to be with family and chill. But hey,
Yeah,
it's about that time
it's
to
about
get
that
going.
time, man.
What's been
Hey,
good on your end? What are y'all been up to? By the way, America, I'm still trying to figure this thing out. Um, it's been so long, I forgot how this show works. So
well,
if I'm slow on stuff, forgive me.
it's okay. And this,
Yeah,
this is an every year thing for us. We got to get back into our groove of how we work this
yeah,
thing out. But no, I'm good, man. Just taking care of the kids, working. About this fantasy life about to get started. I always get an itch, man. I itch all the time about fantasy. So it's you know what it is, man. Just trying to work, get this
yeah,
thing going, man. But
yeah. So
we here, man.
hey, this is us doing the warm up stretches before it really gets deep into the fantasy football
Yeah. So
season. So we get to test things out with you all. So let us know in the comments if I can find them again. How you all are doing? How y'all been enjoying this off season? What's been the crazy football news that you guys want to talk about? Hit up all subjects tonight.
yes, I mean we got we now. I want to apologize. We are a little late on this news stuff, so y'all gotta be with us a little bit, because just to play catch up, because we talk about it all the time, but we don't talk. We ain't been live with it. So, but we gonna definitely we gonna bring up some stuff that's happening. We're gonna bring up a little bit of the all season news. So, I mean, I said let's get into it, man. I mean, for me, what was so far? What has been the biggest off-season news? And maybe you can start from the beginning. You can talk about something now. I mean, what's been the biggest off-season move or thing that's happened so far?
Well, I just say this offseason, free agency has been way more unpredictable. It started off, but we're in the dynasty league.
Mm-hmm.
For those that didn't know, and so in dynasty, you got to stay up on things, and so free agency was crazy. So you saw a lot of moves and people moving stuff around in
Oh yeah.
dynasty football, just like you saw in the NFL. But for me, the biggest news, the biggest move by far is to Saquon. Well, until a few weeks ago, the biggest, or last week, was Stephon Diggs. Until that happened, Saquon
Mm-hmm.
Barkley to me was the biggest offseason move because it's not like the Eagles ended last year poorly, but it's not like that team wasn't already stacked. And if you just look at what they did with Miles Sanders, now you put Saquon Barkley behind that line that the
Oh my
Eagles have.
gosh.
Yo, they should be back
Oh
this
yeah.
year.
I think they're gonna be back. I think they're gonna win the division.
Yeah.
I think it is crazy. And it's not even just the Saquon move. It's a bunch of other moves that they made.
Hmm.
That it's just crazy, and they just kind of reloaded. I ain't gonna say reloaded, but they retooled
Well,
a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah,
Because they was already loaded. They just picked up some, and I feel like what they did was they filled some holes where they needed to think they
hmm
need to fill, because they went on a losing streak that they didn't like. and they
Yeah.
needed to fix some things. So they went in and they figured out, okay, we need to do this better, fill this hole, fill this. And then I like what they did where they actually worked on the offensive line,
Yeah.
which is big. Because a lot of teams don't focus on that nowadays. They focus more on skill players and trying to fix the outside of the lineman more than, just going. It just don't work that way. You start in the trenches and then you work your way out. That's how football
That's how
works.
the good teams do it.
Yes. But I tell you, I mean, I think the Houston Texans,
Yeah.
and I'm going to go on record on this day, April 10th, CJ Stroud at the moment is my favorite to be number one in fantasy, brother, because the team they're putting around him is crazy. And he did what he did last year with
Yeah.
none of this was even more crazier. But you telling me, and it may not be the same Diggs, but you're still getting a Diggs that's a second receiver who can give you numbers if he
Yeah.
just behaves himself. That's the
Look,
biggest thing.
look, you. I don't think behavior is going to be an issue because what Stephon did the first 2 years, you're smooth. So you know what I'm saying. So, like, he's going to be so happy that first year. He might end up being the number one receiver for the Texans, despite Nico Collins and Tank Dell are both really good. But Stephon Diggs, hey, he's good at first. It
Yeah,
takes a while before him to get diva tendencies like a lot of wide receivers are. So I'm not even worried about year one. Not too
yeah.
worried about year two. Year three,
But see, but the
so
thing
he
is,
might be retired by then. Who knows?
he's not getting a year two or
Yeah,
three. What they did was they
yeah,
voided the last 3 years of his contract. So basically, he's playing on a 1 year deal,
yeah,
which is just this year. It's more of a prove it deal to say, hey, I'm not crazy and I'm a good teammate. And I just want to, I want to win. And I get it. And I don't know what happened in Buffalo. I can't tell you. They said him and Josh Allen got into it or
yeah.
something like that. But it didn't end well, and the Buffalo Bills they just found a way to get rid of him.
Yeah,
They didn't want him in the locker room no more.
and for nothing.
Yes,
Like that, that,
they
that, that,
didn't get nothing back.
that was completely the we're sick of you. Just go ahead and leave.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what it was.
Deal. So
And they took a $31 million hit,
yeah,
which is even crazier on that part because at the end of the day, the cap number that they took a hit on is going to affect them, not
mm-hmm.
nobody else, not Houston. So look, I think it's a great pickup. I think CJ is going to take a
Yeah,
extra step this year, and we didn't even talk about mixing, bringing it. I mean, bring it,
that they
bro.
they are low. They're low. Look, they are fantasy football league. The Texans. I see. We'll also talk about the Texans in the chat. Welcome, Carla, our producer. Welcome is in the chat, not in the studio. We still got some problems, but I'm glad we still have our producer over, even if I have to try to run this whole show by myself in the studio, uh, which is probably a bad thing. But we'll get her back on and live later. Good to have all of y'all back. But yeah, but getting to your point, the things that the Texans are doing, I think they saw the big. I think they were even surprised by how well C.J. Stroud played last year
Yeah,
and how good that team was. So I think they're trying to while the fire's still burning. Let's
yeah,
give C.J. Stroud everything that we can because much like your team, if you got a guy that's really good playing on a rookie contract, you try to win the Super Bowl immediately. And I think that's what we're seeing the Texans saying right now. It's like, look, we already think we can compete with the Kansas City Chiefs, and so they're doing everything possible to get that team going. Like you said, Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs, the team is going to be loaded. I don't know if I go as far. We've been talking for a minute about it, and I know you're excited about C.J. Stroud. I am because I've talked about Dynasty earlier. I got on my Dynasty team, so I approve of every move they make. I don't know if I can move C.J. Stroud to number one yet.
well,
Uh,
and the
it's
reason I
close,
say that
yeah,
now,
but
the reason I say that
uh-huh,
from a fantasy standpoint, which I'm talking about,
yeah,
he has the weapons to because I mean if you think about it, last year he should have if he wouldn't have got hurt.
yeah. I was gonna say it's not like he was far from number one
From
last year.
he
Yeah,
was he was right there at number one if he wouldn't have got hurt last year with just Nico Collins and Tank Dell. So think about the fact that he got Nico Collins and Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs and Joe
and
Mixon
Joe
because
Mixon.
they had no running game last year, not one.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is, and I'm not downing Patrick Mahomes. I love Patrick Mahomes. I'm just saying from a stat standpoint,
Yeah.
you got to go there. Now we talking real life playoffs and all this other stuff. Then it's definitely Patrick Mahomes. But from a fantasy standpoint, week to week basis, you gotta go CJ Stroud this at this early. Now we got to figure out in the draft now what
yeah.
they do. But at this point on this day, it's got to be CJ Stroud in my opinion.
I can't say I'm gonna go there, but I'm not mad at it. I say that much because it's gonna be interesting to see the quarterback shake up. For me, like I always say, Mahomes is always my number one, but it's not like hey, last year it didn't work out. He didn't end up the number one fantasy football guy, so I can see replacing him.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud is a good replacement guy to go with. Um, we talked about Stephon Diggs leaving. How do you think that affects Josh Allen?
Oh
Does he stay up in that upper
no.
echelon of fantasy football, or does he drop off a few notches?
Well,
Because right now,
I give you two
Curtis
scenarios.
is Curtis Samuel his best wide receiver right now?
Yeah, I had this conversation with Keith earlier.
Right.
Keith was like, "Man, so you ain't giving Curtis Samuel no love?" I'm telling you, no, I'm not giving Curtis Samuel no love. Now, I'm gonna
Get
tell
out of
you
here.
this. I'll tell you this.
Uh
It's two scenarios that could help or hurt. Now, if they go into the draft and somehow, some way move up
huh.
to get one of those top receivers, they're gonna need a couple top receivers. Just to say that.
And this is the
Um,
draft to do that. So
yeah. Now, if they don't come away with at least two of those within the
Mm-hmm.
1 to 5 or 1 to 10 receivers that's in the draft this year,
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but we're gonna have to see Josh Allen be as the young kids would say him. So he's gonna have to be him because I told Keith I was like, look, Josh Allen is the quarterback. He
Mm-hmm.
may be that quarterback that can make other receivers better. This is the year to show that because he's gonna have to.
Yeah.
Because Patrick Mahomes did that. He did it with a bunch of rookie second year players,
Mm-hmm.
and he showed. We all know what Patrick Mahomes is, but he showed
Yeah.
I don't need the big time receiver to be successful. Now Josh Allen is gonna have to do the same exact thing because I don't know if they don't have the money to go get any big time receiver anyway. They're gonna have to
Right.
pull from the draft, and you cannot come out there with Curtis Samuel.
Look, Curtis Samuel is good, but Curtis Samuel one gets hurt often because
Thank you.
Curtis Samuel is not a young dude. He's been around in the league enough that it's look. What was he like? I don't think he's quite 30, but he's in
No.
his upper 20s right now.
Oh yeah.
He's like 27, I think, 28, something that's gonna be way too old. Uh, but and who the other wide receivers there? They have Mac Hollins, who used to play with the Raiders. So
Yeah.
he's a nice little extra guy, but he's not someone you can count on a regular. And some people I see are excited about Khalil Shakir.
I don't know about that.
I think the same people that are hyped about him are the people that were hyped about Gabe Davis all
Yeah.
these years. Like, look, these guys are role players, and
So
that includes Curtis Samuel. So
let me ask you this:
yeah.
Who's in a better situation right now, Josh Allen or Justin Herbert?
Better. Justin Herbert has terrible. Yeah, Quentin Johnson is his number one wide receiver who can't catch the ball. He was a rookie, so maybe he's gonna by chance get better. I'm between the two of them. I'm gonna say neither situation is good. If I have to put my confidence in who's gonna be better this year, I'm still gonna go Josh Allen. As
Now,
the
hold on now. Before you say that, now, is it Josh Allen? Now, because you got to think about this now.
Yeah.
If Marvin Harrison Jr. ends up with the Chargers,
well, we're saying right now, right?
Okay, right now. All right.
I'm at the rosters they have today. Get at me at the end of the month after the draft, and I may answer this question completely different. Good,
Well, because this is my thing. My
yeah,
thing is both of them in the same. They're in the same situation.
they
They,
lost
they
their
had
good
they
wide
lost their
receivers.
good
Yeah,
receivers, so they have no receivers now.
no,
Quentin Johnson ain't the greatest. Palmer, so it's like you kind of gotta like shake your head on both of them.
yeah,
Now in a fantasy draft now, like I know it's early, but let's just play a little game right quick.
okay.
In a
But
fantasy,
before the game gets started, welcome Jamal to the show. Good to have you with us. One of our other fantasy football compatriots from the Gridiron League. All right, define your game. And I see this question about Rasheed Rice. He's coming up. Yeah, what you got?
so you asked me as far as the draft, where do you put these guys?
Yeah.
Now, if you go back, let's say maybe 3 years, right? Let's go back 3 years with Josh Allen before Diggs got there.
Uh,
What was Josh Allen before Diggs got there? He
not,
wasn't
not great.
he wasn't that great. So we can't really say the same about Herbert because we never seen
We
Herbert
never.
without
But
these receivers.
but you are the guy that says he because but dude who's not Keenan Allen, the other one, Mike Williams.
Mike
He
Williams.
disappears all the time and gets hurt all
Yes.
the time. And when Keenan Allen was missing, we did see Justin Herbert be good with substandard wide
Yes.
receivers.
Of
Not
course.
last year, but the year before.
Yes, I get it. I mean, the year that
Hmm.
so 2 years ago, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen played a total of 4 games
Yeah.
together. He threw for 4,700 yards. I don't know
Yes.
where he threw for 4,700 yards, but he threw
But he
for
did.
4,700 yards that year with both of those guys not even playing together 5 games.
Hmm.
So at the end of the day, I know Justin Herbert can be good with those receivers. He can make those guys better. Now the
Hmm.
question is, can Josh Allen do the same thing? I feel like Josh Allen can. I feel like he
Yeah.
can make them better. I just feel like Josh Allen will slide if he doesn't get any capable receiver from the draft. I think he slides in the draft this year. He has to slide
Yeah.
because he gonna have unless they're gonna be on the field all the time and he got to do so much that the numbers just gonna add up to make him look good. Other than that, he slides in the draft because his teams with better quarterbacks.
Here's and I see we got our first talk about rookies in this chat, so we definitely want to get to that. But here's the saving grace for Josh Allen, his legs, and I can see he may not give it to you in passing yards like you would normally expect, but he
Yes.
can definitely become, like you said, him and he can make up for what he's missing with his legs. So I think right now Josh Allen has to go into hero mode every
Mm-hmm.
game because he has no one. He has no one. He
Boy,
can, and so for fantasy football, I'm buying. I don't have him as high as I had because in years past it's been Mahomes 1, Josh Allen 2.
too.
He
Yeah.
might slip down, especially with C.J. Stroud's ascension. But I think Josh Allen stays in my top 5 of quarterbacks, despite and
I mean, I say
I
this.
kind of halfway want to say even in my top 3, but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% there yet. Give me the
I
draft.
say
Give
I
me the
say
draft
this.
first.
I say C.J. Stroud and Patrick Mahomes. Either way you want to look at it, either you got Patrick Mahomes 1, C.J. Stroud
Probably
2,
my
or
1 and 2.
they're your 1 and 2 regardless. Whatever order y'all want to make it, that's his order. But you remember past years when it's been Mahomes, Allen, Barrow, and Herbert. Those 4 were you're always going to be your top 4 no matter what. Now it's down to 2. Is C.J. Stroud, Patrick Mahomes, or Patrick Mahomes, C.J. Stroud, and then after that is basically anybody's choice. It's more of a preference at
It's a
that
more
point.
level playing field amongst the
Yep.
other guys. Yeah, I give you that.
Hmm.
Uh,
So go ahead.
oh no, Finn.
So for me, you can say Josh Allen at 3. You can say Barrow at 3. You can say Dak at 3. I mean, you can say a bunch of
I
players at
like
3.
Dak. I like Jalen Hurts potentially at 3.
3.
'Cause
Yeah.
I think the strong running game is, look. If Saquon Barkley can get $40 million to Daniel Jones, Lord knows what
What he gonna do for
he gonna do
Jalen
with
Hurts?
Jalen Hurts. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
God. Yeah.
I think Jalen Hurts might have his best year this year.
So for me right now, early part of just early fantasy
Mm-hmm.
is a two-headed race for number one between those two guys, and
Yeah,
then after that is a preference at that point.
which is good for you as a fantasy football player because if you don't get those, this is a year I might be content sitting back a bit on my quarter. Not in the high quarterback leagues like the barbershop or the gridiron, of course.
Yeah.
You sit back there, you're just done for. But but in the more a typical kind of fantasy football, I might be very comfortable sitting back this year and filling in with my wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, and such. And then I can get back. I sit back all year and get Kirk Cousins because
Yeah.
he's going to have to be. He's
That's
another
true.
guy without Justin Jefferson there.
Uh,
The
I
lean
don't
on,
know.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I don't know about that one. I feel like
Yeah,
it's a wait and see approach with
yeah,
Kirk, but I think Drake London could ascend a little bit
yeah.
with Kirk Cousins.
I think he does. Drake
Yeah,
London goes up on my list.
yeah,
In fact, I think it was Jamal who wanted to make a trade with me for I can't remember for Drake London this year. I might take that trade because I think Drake London not crazy high on my list that I'm gonna do
but it,
crazy stuff for, but he's on my radar anyways.
yeah,
With Desmond Ritter, no, not
no,
interested. With
no.
Kirk Cousins, yes. Let's get to this. We talked about um, Patrick Mahomes earlier. Let's talk about Rashee Rice. Uh, for those that don't know, apparently he decided to be speed racer.
Hey, I
Left the
tell you,
scene of a crime, and now they got arrest warrants out for him.
8 counts.
8 counts. Uh, is he playing football this year? And if you're a dynasty owner with Rashee Rice, what do you do with that? And how do you think this affects Patrick Mahomes going forward?
I don't think it affects Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes is, as they would say, him. He's going to be that guy regardless. All they're going to do is draft some more rookie receivers or something. So, I feel like the Chiefs, they're going to make something happen for Patrick
Yeah,
Mahomes. So I'm not even worried about that. I think more Rice has to be concerned about being a Chief,
yeah,
if anything. He may, it's real counts, and we talking like
yeah,
felonies. He may see jail time. Who knows? Um, but the league definitely is gonna suspend him
yeah.
if he's found guilty of anything. So you can kind of bet your bet on that. He gonna get suspended. But again, I'm not worried about Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is
Mm-hmm.
definitely gonna be Patrick Mahomes. I don't think it affects him no way at all because he gonna they signed some receivers, but he gonna make it work with all those guys
Yeah.
regardless because he's just him. So I don't see no problem as far as Mahomes. But Rashid, he gotta look
Yeah.
forward to some stuff.
I'll say this: that Hollywood Brown signing looked better, better. It's like,
Yes,
hey, good timing on that. So
yeah,
I think Hollywood Brown is going to have a much bigger impact with the
mm-hmm.
Chiefs than you saw him. I think with the
Car-
Cardinals,
yep,
because Kyler Murray is not Patrick Mahomes and
not
whoever
even.
else they had playing last year. Can't compare. So I think Hollywood Brown, as Jerome says, to the moon. Uh,
Moon.
Hollywood Brown just, it looked, because we saw at the end of last year, Rashee Rice was coming along, that he
Mm-hmm.
looked like he could be that guy. So now all of that love is going to go over to
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood Brown. So yeah, he's big on my list.
And
Uh,
and probably they move up in the draft to get one
yeah,
of them big
they
name
were probably going to
receivers
get a wide receiver anyway because this
anyway. So
this
yeah,
year is so stacked. But this pick means a lot more now. Like I said, our resident Chiefs expert, yeah, dumb. You would think he would have learned from Henry Ruggs, right? You know what I'm
yes,
saying? That it's not like this was a long time ago. He's fortunate that no one died, and there was only minor
yes.
injuries with this accident. But I mean, Rashee Rice racing just happened,
Oh my
killing
gosh,
somebody going too fast, and to do this kind of foolishness, it's just dumb. You need better friends.
you need better friends.
You
You
need
need to let the much better
you need a
friends.
whole new crew. Assuming you can stay out of jail.
Yeah.
Welcome Nita to the show.
They need to just sit their butts down in the
There's our producer.
There she go.
Look,
She's back.
we may not have a camera and a mic for her, but we can all go old school. Yeah, they need to. These guys in the NFL need to figure this thing out.
They need freaking friends that tell them this is dumb.
Yeah.
Sit down.
Yeah, they do. That was stupid.
They need to do something. But speaking of Nita being here, this one goes to Nita and my mother, who I don't know if you did a bracket for the NCAA tournament.
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
These two, I think they cheated. I'm gonna say it right now online so they can both hear me, because they both picked in the men's bracket. They both picked the two teams, and I think they both did it in the women's bracket too, where they had both matchups for the finals. They were both like in the 90s or very high 80s. I forget exactly. I'm pretty sure they'll tell me where they ended in the percentile. But my bracket was busted like super early. my women's bracket looked good. I did manage to, but the women's bracket was easy because everybody knew South Carolina was going to be in the finals. You just had to figure out who they were playing against. So
Well, mine wasn't busted all the way. I had Duke going far.
Yeah.
And then when they lost, then that's when mine kind of.
Yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to the female Gamecocks doing their thing.
I really can say I'm glad they won.
Yeah, I'm very glad they won.
I don't really want to talk about it up here, but I really, because I don't know. I'm gonna leave that one alone because I'm not a fan of her. But okay, she's yeah. We'll talk about that later. But I want to say another big move that people really not talking about is Derrick Henry going to Baltimore.
I have a list of the big plays. We already did Saquon Barkley. The next one on my list was going to be Derrick Henry.
Let me tell you something. That is probably the best move for him.
Yeah.
That team, all they do is run. All they do is run. And on top of that, they don't have receivers. I mean, they're going to draft some probably, but they don't have receivers. He going to get the ball 30 times a game, at least 30. And it ain't going to be no sharing the backfield with other people. He is going to be the go-to guy in Baltimore. And I'm going to tell you like this. You can have CMC is definitely one this year. He's number one running back this year. I give you that. I mean, I don't have a real list yet of my running backs, but CMC is definitely one. You can even say like a Saquon is up there in that top 5 area. But I'm gonna tell you
who up there.
I'm gonna tell you who in the top 3. Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. They showed the picture. I can't remember right now who was with. He was like, I usually look big next to other people. But next to Derrick Henry, everyone looks small. And like you said, he went to the team that is going to do nothing but run the ball. That's plan A, plan B, and plan C. Whether it's the running backs or whether it's Lamar Jackson, all they're going to do is run the ball. And no one's going to be able to stop it because it's what's been happening for the last few years.
Forever.
So
they like to run.
I think that was a brilliant place to go. I know he said that it would have been perfect to go to Dallas. And I can see that too because of their offensive line. But I mean, if the Ravens are your plan B, that's a wonderful plan B.
Yeah.
And I look forward, as a person who lives in Baltimore, I think I'm gonna have to sit down and watch one of these Derrick Henry games.
I'm gonna tell you like this.
Yeah.
People gonna sleep on the draft on Derrick Henry.
Yeah, he's getting up because age. He was he's in 30.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, you can do that. But I'm gonna tell you like this. I mean, and I like the young boys. I like Gibbs.
Yeah, I love.
I like all the young boys.
I like Bijan.
I like them. But what I'm saying is this: that him in that offense with that offensive line, it's gonna be crazy, and he gonna get all he gonna do is wear teams down with those 25 to 30 carries each game. And this is the thing. Now you got to think about him killing you up the middle, and then you got to think about Lamar killing you on the outside. So you can't stack the box 8 in the box because if you stack it too much,
Yeah.
then all they're gonna do is run like a bootleg for Lamar, and Lamar is gonna go right out to the right or the left. I mean, to me, it's a perfect setup because they got what Zay Flowers is the only real receiver there.
Yeah. So
Come on,
yeah, Nita was said that she's of course also talking about her being a winner, but she talked about when Derrick Henry was available, or King Henry as she puts it. Ravens was the team to get him. So I'm all for it because look, by most accounts, people will probably say, "Oh, Derrick Henry had a down year last year." He still ran for over 1,000 yards with whoever they decided to be the quarterback those given weeks. And
yep.
you tell me that he can't match that 1,000 yards with Lamar Jackson as quarterback and that offensive line to have
Oh
there.
my God,
I'm all in. Yeah,
he had he had over 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns this year with a bad
yeah,
quarterback
well, a
and a bad O
horrible
line
quarterback.
in Tennessee. You think he not gonna get the 12 to 13 to 1,500 yards
Yeah.
again? Okay,
If he just gives me 1,200, I take it because you're probably gonna still get somewhat of a discount with him in your fantasy league. I don't think he's gonna be in the god tier he's usually in. Nita, we
yeah,
talked Saquon earlier, and yeah, he's gonna be excellent over there in Philly.
oh
But
yeah,
I think there's probably still gonna be a good chance that you can get Derrick Henry in the back end of in your typical I don't know whether he's gonna be that early first round kind of running back he's been, especially with so many people going zero running back. You might get Derrick Henry at the end of the first, second round, even depending on
yeah.
how your people are drafted. Because yeah, people are gonna go with the youth ahead of him, and
Of
so I
course,
think
definitely.
he could be a definite steal
I think so
on
too.
that team. So I'm all in on that one.
So I'm definitely with that. So, whoo, that's a good one. Justin Fields to Pittsburgh. Does he start right away, or does he beat out Russell Wilson? What's your take on that? How you feel about that situation right now?
We got Carla in the building. I'm interested to see how excited she is because they just got Russell Wilson for absolutely nothing, and then like
Yep,
a few moments later, it felt like it said, "Now we're gonna bring in Justin Fields,
Justin
also
Fields.
for nothing." So they've got a serious upgrade uh, over and as is well known, I was a big Kenny Pickett guy, and
Yes, you were.
I
I
was not
was too.
so right on those for now. But I think that could be a good situation,
Hmm.
coach wise,
Yeah.
for Justin Fields. I think Russell Wilson is going to be the starter
Okay.
going in this year. Um, but I don't think he's definitely not long term because he's getting up there. But
No, no.
I think it's a let. If you look at last year, the Steelers made the playoffs with a terrible team.
Oh, Mason
They
Rudolph,
had
Kenny
absolutely
Pickett.
no offense
Yeah.
whatsoever, and they still managed to keep winning. So from their standpoint, I think they feel confident that with Russell Wilson, despite his obvious flaws, it's an
Hmm.
upgrade over where they were a year ago.
Okay.
And I think they can let Justin Fields sit and learn under a veteran. And so we're going to see where it goes. I think, honestly, for me, and I say this all the time, for certain things, I go with the youth and some potential. I'm
Hmm.
not a big Russell Wilson guy. Russell Wilson with the Broncos, you heard me say for the last few years that's not going to work out. He's not that dude that can come in and change the
Hmm.
team. I don't think he comes in and makes the Steelers as good as they want to be because the problem is with the with Kenny Pickett and whoever they since Roethlisberger kind of went down.
Yeah.
They're good for making the playoffs and not going any further than that. I don't think Russell Wilson fixes that, honestly, for that team. But I
Now,
think he's a good
would you
veteran.
say
Yeah,
that he takes the job at some point?
maybe not this year unless Russell Wilson gets hurt. Um, I would stick, despite my feelings on Russell Wilson, I stick with him over Justin Fields
Okay.
only because right now their problem was with Kenny Pickett. He was too young and he needed to learn a lot more. And as a team overall, they don't feel that's where they are. So I get a veteran presence like Russell Wilson. I stick with Russell Wilson until he gets hurt or he's just really ineffective, which could also very realistically happen.
Happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
But for fantasy purposes, are you signing up for Justin Fields or Russell Wilson this year? As definitely not your. I don't think you do either one of them as your one.
Well, I
Are you
have
doing?
Russ in in the
You have him
dynasty
in the
league.
dynasty. I forgot about that.
Um, but I'm a roll with him in the dynasty league, obviously. But in a traditional league like we play in, mm, I don't. If you draft one, you got to draft the other.
Yeah,
I feel like because
yeah.
I feel
You
like you
gotta
got to
definitely do
handcuff.
them both.
You got to handcuff both of them because Russ. I feel like Russ could get. It's not like set in stone that he's the quarterback for the whole season.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, so I feel like you will have to if Russ could have a bad stretch of games,
Which
and
he's done.
it could be okay. We're gonna go to Fields just to give a boost, and Fields could. And I feel like the change of scenery for Fields is great because
Coaching is
Chicago
way better.
coaching is way better. Chicago alone is a terrible organization,
Yeah,
and we're gonna talk about that in a little bit with the
yeah.
quarterback they bringing in,
Uh huh.
supposedly. Um, but I just feel like, I really want to talk about that because I
Yeah,
feel like,
yeah. That's
that one,
the
yeah.
Chicago's going to be. I see. Need to talk about the Falcons again.
Oh, we're gonna talk about
We
the
talked
Falcons.
about
That's
the
coming up
Falcons a
next.
little bit earlier too. We'll get back to them, but
Yeah,
a franchise that had
I feel,
just as bad as Arthur Smith, except
yeah,
the Bears still have their guy. So
and I feel like
yeah,
that organization in Pittsburgh, Tomlin gonna be that father
yeah.
figure. He probably got a father, but he gonna be that father figure. Um, he said he need the link. Get in, man. I'm gonna bring you in, Shaq. So he basically, I think he's gonna be well, man. I think he's gonna be all right, and I think he's gonna be on some. He may be good. I think he may take the job, man. I just
I
feel,
wouldn't be surprised. I say this, if we're talking just uh, the potential we that a quarterback could get. I think there's more potential there with Justin Fields than with Russell. Russell Wilson's on the decline, and I don't think that's even debatable. Justin Fields you can catch on the can still catch on the way up. My problem with Justin Fields is you didn't start to see them get him develop better as a passer until DJ Moore got there, right?
yeah.
There's no DJ Moore. As much as I think like Pickens is not DJ Moore. So I don't think there's the wide receiver there. I think there's going to be a tendency, especially with the fact that for some odd reason, despite them working on it for the last 3 years, the Steelers can't get that offensive line fixed. And so if you have a bad offensive line, I kind of like going with Justin Fields just because, hey, he's
Hmm.
never had a good offensive line. But he can still run the ball, and Russell Wilson is just going to be stuck back there because
I like the
his elusive
move.
days are gone.
I, I do like the move, and I feel like it'll be a good move. So I'm good with it, and I think he's gonna have success in Pittsburgh. And he gonna write his career, which is a good thing, in Pittsburgh. So we good with that. Now
Yeah.
let's talk about Kirk Cousins,
Let's go
and
back to Atlanta.
let's go back to Atlanta. Go back
Since you
to
didn't
Atlanta.
know, so she catching up later on. Let's recap. The Arthur Smith is gone. Desmond Ritter is no more. The guy is Captain Kirk. Wakes up dripping every day,
Wakes up dripping.
and
Oh,
now he's captaining the ship. So when you said earlier that we like Drake London a bit more than we did last year, I like Kyle Pitts. If you were discussing
oh
about Kyle
God.
Pitts
Woo.
last year, I
I
think
like Kyle
you have
Pitts.
reasons to love him again going into
Yes.
this year. I think B. John Robinson even is going to be better because they actually have a competent quarterback now. I
Ooh.
don't know. I saw they were releasing I guess the projections on wins, and they had the
Yeah.
Falcons pretty high. They have them at 10.5, if I remember correctly.
All right then.
These-
Okay.
I'm not buying that.
Me either. But okay.
I'm
But
not
I
buying
mean,
that.
the division is not. It's an easy division to
It's
win.
not a great division.
They can win a division. I mean, the Saints ain't about nothing for real.
Well, we got the
Let's be
third
honest.
man who's going to tell us that Baker Mayfield
I mean,
and the
that's their
Bucks
only
are going to,
competition.
yeah.
I mean, the Bucks are the only competition. What are the Saints doing? They ain't doing nothing. Carolina ain't doing nothing. So it's a good chance I mean, they could. They got to fight Tampa Bay for that one.
Yeah.
But
They're not
with Captain
winning
Kirk,
10 games.
nah.
That-
I don't know. I mean, they might win
they're
10,
not win- no, no.
but again, you can't win. You can't win the division with 10 games. You can still lose the division and win 10
Yeah.
games. So it don't matter to me. That's crazy. So I don't know. I mean, I like Tampa.
No.
I do. I do. You know, me and Shaq had this conversation. I like Tampa. You know, and I think they're gonna do well. I just
Yeah.
feel like
I think Tampa Bay is the easy pick to win that division again.
now I will
Despite the
say
fact,
this.
you know, you had a year of great Baker Mayfield, which is probably telling you this year you're going to have a year of bad Baker Mayfield, just based off history. Now, they managed to keep, oh, wow, beat me to it, Shaq. They managed to keep Hall of Famer Mike Evans, which honestly, I am wild. I did not expect Mike Evans to be back on that team.
Oh,
So the wake and bake
Wake
with Mike Evans might keep him from his history repeating himself, because Baker Mayfield has his ups and downs, and he was so up last year.
Oh god,
I'm expecting him to be down, but he's never had Mike Evans, so
God.
maybe he stays up.
Well, I'm gonna say, look, whoever Kirk Cousins' agent is, he needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
He
oh
is.
gosh,
He's the greatest agent of all time.
of all time, bro. Like he gets Kirk Cousins so much money, boy. I'm trying to tell you, guaranteed money.
Did you see Cam Newton saying that if Kirk Cousins had his resume, he would have gotten even more? It's just amazing how, despite the fact that my man can fight, obviously.
You see? Oh yes. Oh yeah.
I don't know what possesses someone to think, oh yeah, I'm about to take on Cam Newton. That dude is a house.
I will say this. Shout out to Cam. Yeah. He got a dope show. Dope show. Love his show.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's a really good one.
He's entertaining. I will say that.
Yes.
He crazy out of his mind.
But he definitely entertaining.
But he's definitely entertaining.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the Chicago situation, man. I have my reserve. I want to be right about this, but I might end up being wrong, like I always am. But I feel like what they did with Justin Fields by not getting him talent, not one talent, until DJ Moore got until DJ Moore Moore got there. But before that, he had nothing. But all of a sudden now, they want to load up and help the current quarterback coming in for some reason. It don't sit well with me. I mean, if you was going to do all that, you might as well kept Justin Fields and let him try to win with the talent that you're bringing in now.
Yeah.
But no, you don't do that. You want to leave him as a sitting duck with one of the worst O-line, no receivers, no running backs, but all of a sudden now, y'all want to bring in all this talent for a guy. I'm sorry, y'all, but I don't think Caleb Williams is that great of a quarterback. I apologize. And look, y'all can look at me crazy all y'all want to, but if you go back, and then I'm all about numbers, when he played top 25 schools last year, he did not do well. In preferably Colorado, and Colorado wasn't good after week 4. He threw 4 interceptions against Colorado.
Yes.
So what I'm telling you is I watched the game. He's a crybaby, first of all.
Hey, man can't be afraid to cry.
Whatever. He's a crybaby. When he loses, he's a sore loser. And what he don't realize in Chicago, it's cold, bro. It ain't USC. Yeah. It's very cold there. And he has a really bad record in cold weather games. Just to let people know that. So, at the end of the day, he going to get picked by Chicago, but I think it's a bad move. I would have kept Justin Fields. And then I would have got Marvin Harrison Jr.
And that was going to be my point. I would have, and again, I think, and I've said this before, they rush these guys way too much. The
Mm-hmm.
gold standard for quarterbacks is Green Bay. While they're still good, they bring in someone that can sit and learn. And then when they're ready, you just keep switch. You can switch from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, and to now to what looks really good with Jordan Love.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's the right way to go with it. I think how many quarterbacks have the Bears? Google it for yourself. How many
Good
quarterbacks
God.
have the Bears had in the past, let's say, 15 years? Way too many, and every time is okay. 2 years, just dump them, go somewhere else, and they keep doing the same process, and it's never going to work because you have an organizational problem.
Mm-hmm.
However, I told you before, I did not want Caleb Williams because I have the number one pick in a dynasty league. And I was like, I don't think I want Caleb Williams. I think I'm going to try to trade that and get someone else. Until I caught you
Yes,
in the
I know.
offseason. The
I
day
know.
they signed Keenan Allen, I'm like, I'm all in. Because the stuff you say, Caleb Williams is not without his problems. Because I was excited to watch USC this year. Because I was like, okay, coming off the year, he was phenomenal, like 2 years ago. This
Mm-hmm.
past year, I was like, let's see the follow up because everyone's saying you have to get Caleb Williams. You remember in Dynasty Week 1, I said when I started losing, it's like, okay, I'm tanking for
I'm
Caleb
taking for
Williams.
Caleb Williams.
And the more I
Yeah.
watched Caleb Williams last season, I was like, ugh, I don't know. I'm not sold. I'm not sold completely. Um, but Keenan Allen, much like Baker Mayfield is good with Hall of Famer Mike Evans, I think it's hard to be bad when we already saw what Justin Fields did with DJ Moore. Now you add Keenan Allen to it. I think I'm all in on this one. I'm gonna buy, but with reservations. Um,
I'm telling you, it. I tell you this. One of the guys from the Chicago Bears was on a show,
mm-hmm.
and he was like, he just ain't gonna walk in there and think we can respect him. He's gonna have to earn the respect from us because this is not college. This is the
Yeah,
NFL. And he said this on a national TV
yeah,
show, basically letting them know, look, kid, you can be the number one pick all you want to, but you're gonna have to earn the respect of these players in this
yeah.
locker room first. So what you do as far as like being emotional and trying to throw people on the bus, because a lot of this what he did on the field is
He has some immaturity
he got some
traits.
he's
Yeah,
very immature.
yeah,
And he gonna have to grow up fast in Chicago, or it's gonna be the same situation like they did with Justin Fields.
yeah. The only thing that scared me off is the fact that he's most likely going to be. I wish for all everything that he could get drafted somewhere other because, like I said, Chicago has organizational issues. That play and I think Nita was mentioning that they're a dumpster fire. That
Yeah.
organization is terrible. Also seeing the Jets in the chat, also an organization that's a dumpster fire. But yo, it's not a great situation. But I think they're gonna put, like you said, they're loading this team up better than they did with
Yes,
Justin
definitely. I would
Fields.
say that, yes.
I think it would have been a better idea for them to build around him, and like you said, go elsewhere because this year's draft is going to be phenomenal. Can you imagine if they had still Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and then they went and drafted Marvin Harrison
Junior,
to that team? Who couldn't be a good wide receiver? I mean, a quarterback with that list of
but
wide
see, but that's what I'm
receivers.
saying. They never surrounded him with that.
Yeah.
You
So
wait a year. And think about this. DJ Moore had his best season ever,
yeah,
and I'm talking career ever, with Justin Fields.
yeah,
Just imagine you would have gave him some help other than that, like last year. You
yeah.
gave him nothing. So you can't sit here and expect this kid to be good when the O line is trash. He got to
Yeah.
run for his life, and then the
And I think that's
receivers
still
help
going to be a problem this year. Yeah.
exactly because they didn't fix that. So I hope now I hope Caleb Williams do well. To be honest with you, I just feel like he gonna have to man up real quick in Chicago.
Yeah.
I think one that people are really gonna really gonna do well is Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels to
I was
me
gonna
is
ask
going
you.
to be really, really good, and I think he's going to Washington if I'm not mistaken, because Washington got
That's
number pick.
it's really sad that these bad teams have these guys that I'm really excited about. I'm not excited
Yeah,
about any of their destinations for these
I mean,
quarterbacks.
I think
Yeah,
new ownership going being in Washington, I think, and you're from the area, you know that you live
yeah,
there. New ownership, I feel like they changing some stuff, and they want to win. So I feel like at the end of the day, I feel like him going there, and he's gonna start right out the gate because they got Marcus Mariota there
yeah.
anyway. So um, Drake May is not good, bro. Have you watched the last 5 games of Drake May in North Carolina? Not happening, Cap. Um, no, Drake May is that's a Trubisky all over again.
Yeah.
Sam Howell. I mean, come on now. I can name a few. So, but I'm just saying, I think Jaden Daniels is probably a better quarterback. Even like McCarthy. I don't think JJ McCarthy's that good. He threw the ball way less times.
Yeah.
I can't. They ran the ball 90% of the time in Michigan.
Because why wouldn't you? The way they have that offensive line and those running backs. Yeah, JJ McCarthy was not asked to do a thing
Ah,
because he didn't need to.
I
In
don't know
the in
about
the
that.
in the NFL, I think he's gonna be able to. Now it's going off. This is the guy who told you Kenny Pickett was gonna be the next greatest thing. So disregard my words and I understand. I'm not even gonna be mad at you. but
I'm just saying, like
but
JJ.
I think JJ McCarthy has a chance to be really good. Especially here's the thing I don't like about JJ McCarthy: the rumors that he might go to the Broncos. I think that part, I'm not. I'm the Broncos aren't good, and I don't think Sean Payton, without
I
Drew
wouldn't want.
Brees, is
Oh
that
my
guy.
gosh, I want to play for Sean Payton for nothing.
Yeah,
I really wouldn't.
just
Um,
from the
no,
situation and the way he did Russell Wilson, despite me not thinking Russell Wilson as good
yeah,
as a coach, to me, he would have lost all respect in that one. Um, let's because his name's come up a couple of times. This draft is gonna be really good. We talked about a couple of quarterbacks that we like. Um, Wide receivers is the thing that's gonna make this draft sing. I think we talked about Rome Oduz. If you didn't watch college football, Washington has some dudes
oh yes, yes
coming
they do.
in. We talked Marvin Harrison, who namesake of the great
Marvin
Marvin
Harrison.
Harrison. Lets you know he's gonna be good, but he ain't the only wide receiver coming out. There's gonna be some good one. Roman Dunes could be really good depending on where he goes. Um, some of the
Yeah,
stuff I see saying maybe he goes to the Chargers. I think the Chargers definitely need to step
I,
up because they got rid of all their wide receivers. So
I honestly, I really hope Marvin Harrison Jr. goes to the Chargers.
yeah.
I think that'd be the perfect situation for him. Playing with Justin Herbert,
Well,
just
you talked about JJ McCarthy. The rumor tree says that Harbaugh is talking McCarthy up a whole lot to try to
so they can.
convince
Yeah,
Washington to go that direction, or who they, basically just to make sure he goes early enough that the Chargers can get Marvin Harrison.
so
We'll
what
see.
he wants is he wants the first 4 quarterbacks
Yeah,
to go first, um, pretty much, and then he could draft Marvin Harrison Jr.
yeah,
at 5, which I hope. I mean, we all know Caleb is going one.
yeah.
Now, Penix, I don't know, and I think I like
I
Penix.
like
Honestly,
Penix.
I think Penix is a really, really good quarterback, bro.
Jamal
And
Jamal is signing up for Penix as well.
yeah, I like Penix, but I like Jaden Daniels too. Jaden Daniels remind you of a Lamar a little
Yeah.
bit. He has a little bit Lamar in him from the running
Hmm.
aspect. But Penix is probably probably gonna be better than Jaden Daniels. But I think Washington, I think that's where they're gonna go because they kind of need they need
Yeah,
a flashy quarterback at this point to sell to the crowd there.
yeah,
Because I've been to a Washington game. it don't be a lot of Washington fans there, people. I tell you that. So,
They can get drowned
uh,
out.
yeah, it really can. But I don't know, man. I feel like Marvin Harrison Jr. needs to go to the Chargers. I think that's just a perfect scenario for him. I think he will
I,
do
I
wonders there.
I know Justin Herbert would love it,
Oh
and I
gosh.
think he gets back. Justin Herbert is kind of down on my list this year.
But if he get
That would
him,
get him back up. That would.
oh yeah, you better be. Now, another team that need to move up for some receivers is Buffalo.
They're
Buffalo need to move
opposite
up a
right
couple
now. Yeah.
spots. Yeah, the Giants too, because they ain't got no receivers. They need to go receiver big time. They need to go
They don't, I'm
quarterback,
about to say they
but
don't have
we
a quarterback either.
they need to go quarterback. But they might end up with JJ McCartney. So
uh,
who knows?
yeah. Make sure I get it. Shaq is not feeling Drake or JJ. I could see both of them potentially. Here's the thing. On this, they showed. Was it 2022 where all the quarterbacks or all of them are bad and Brock Purdy is the only
Mm-hmm.
guy who's still doing anything, and then Trevor Lawrence. I think this draft has the potential to see a lot of quarterbacks underperform where people think they probably are. They use the word generational talent around Caleb Williams. I'm with
All right,
you
Tom.
in as much as last year the shine kind of fell off a little bit.
Yeah,
Maybe the wide receivers they have in Chicago, basically, but Chicago they've never had a 3,000 yard
four
passing
thousand,
quarterback. 4,000.
4,000.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so he should change it. They should be better. One would think with all the stuff going, but history has a way of just repeating itself. I do. Shaq has gotten in my good graces. He got Penix going to the Raiders.
that's hey. I think that'd be
I'm all
perfect.
in that. I think that would be a good
That'd be
man.
perfect.
We need as much as I tried to support Aiden O'Connell last year, and I think
We know.
he's going to be a great backup. I don't think he's quite a starter. So yeah, we need a quarterback, and I mean we do have a quarterback that's okay. uh,
He said, "Okay." I mean, I think Penix going to y'all, and I
but I
think he
think
really
Penix
wants.
would
He
be
really wants to go there. He wants to go there. He wants to go to the Raiders because he said something about y'all coach, and he really wants to move up. But
yeah. I think
if it happens, y'all got something. I'm just saying.
yeah.
We'll see.
I,
Now, how does a running back class look in this draft? Is it good or is it okay? I mean,
well,
cause
first let me welcome Jasper Lewis, the senior, to the show. I see you there.
welcome.
Hey, glad to have you back. All Pennsylvania Super Bowl. I guess. Hey, what's it? I guess that would be the Steelers and the Eagles.
Eagles. Yeah.
I can see the Eagles. I can't see the
See
Steelers.
the.
I don't see the Steelers getting that far. No, I'm not buying that one.
I don't know about that one,
Like
Cap,
I
but
said.
okay.
But now I forgot the question. Were we talking Penix or
Yeah,
what?
we was talking Penix, and then we was talking running backs in the
Oh yeah,
draft.
you asked me about running backs.
Yes.
I don't think there's a lot of good running backs in this league this year at least. Running backs aren't getting a lot of attention. There's no B. John Robinson or Jameer
Hmm.
Gibbs coming out this year, but I think there's the potential for an unexpected guy to come out of this year's draft, and maybe uh, uh, perf- maybe I don't know if you're gonna get a guy that you draft for your fantasy purposes that's
Hmm.
gonna take you over the top this year. Trey Benson, I see. I mentioned in chat. There's I think the chance that you get a late draft pick that can be a contributor for your fantasy football. But there's no real super studs coming
Okay.
out this year. But hey, someone's gonna get in a good position, and I think that's the best you can probably hope for, right, for your fantasy
Yeah.
teams. I see another talking. We talked about how good the wide receivers are gonna be. Um, Going back to Shaq again, talking about maybe the Jets moving up to get Marvin Harrison Jr. there. I see neighbors going to the Jets in the chat as well.
Yeah,
Braylon Allen. Of course, how could I leave him out? Yeah, that's another running back. There's some talented running backs, just no
yeah.
real superstars out there. So I don't know if there's game changers. But hey, the thing about hey, for a couple of years ago, it didn't turn out to be much. Damian Pierce came out of nowhere
Nowhere.
and
Yes, he
gave
did.
you at least a solid year. Um, for it didn't work out long because I
No,
put
not
him on
long at
my
all.
I put him on my dynasty team, and now I'm stuck.
Oh
Because
God.
look, if he couldn't get the ball with Devin Singletary there, I know he ain't getting the ball with Joe Mixon.
Oh no, you can forget
So,
that.
eh.
No, no,
but
no.
but the point being, I think you can find maybe a running back in this draft that can be a late pickup. People don't see coming and maybe falls in the right. So I'm actually excited for this draft to kind of see where some of these guys go, and maybe their draft stock goes up a little bit uh, based off where people land. Yeah,
I uh I got another one. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, man. The Cowboys.
they are
Dak
all
Prescott.
in. The
Yo.
Cowboys are. Jerry Jones says that they're all in. This is going to be the year, and
Okay. All right.
is the punter still the best signing? I'm trying to
I
remember what
guess
they
that. I
had.
mean, if you want
So
to say that, yes, this the best signing they had this year. But
okay,
let's talk about
yeah,
Dak and his contract.
okay,
Now, I have my feelings about it, and I think what they should do. Um, and I feel like they should because Dak. Think about it. Dak wants $62 million, around 62 million
yeah,
dollars on a new contract per year.
yeah.
Um, mm,
Are you giving
as
them
me,
60 million?
no, 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 not even. The only person that deserves $62 million name is Patrick Mahomes. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only quarterback that deserves that. But I'm not giving Dak $62 million. At most, I'm giving Dak about 50 to 52 million, and that's the going rate for a starting quarter, like a caliber superstar starting quarterback right now.
Okay.
I I think they're doing right by letting him play out this year, even though they can't get nothing in return for him.
Yeah.
I just say let him play it out. Now, if he goes out there and he wins the Super Bowl somehow, you give him.
The
I'm just
Cowboys?
saying. No. I'm just saying. If he goes out there, I'm just saying not even Super Bowl. If he goes out there and they win a division in somehow, some way, they get past the first round or the second round or something.
All right.
Do you pay him then?
This is
No.
fantasy, so why not? We can
No,
live in this
no. I'm,
fantasy
I'm
world.
just saying. I'm just saying, like, as far as getting the money,
Yeah.
like he has to earn it to get that money. You can't just make it to the first round and lose and expect to get $62 million. It don't work that way. And plus, you got to play CeeDee Lamb, who's complaining now. You're gonna have to pay
Yeah.
Michael Parsons, who's gonna be complaining in a few minutes. So therefore, you have to pay these guys, and those are the two big cornerstones of your team that you're gonna have to pay anyway. Dak is taking up $55 million of the salary cap right now. I would, if I'm them, I'm trading him in this draft to somewhere, New England, the Raiders,
I about to say I've heard the
somebody,
Raiders as a possible
somewhere.
landing spot. I hope
I would.
to God not.
You still, you don't want him?
No, not even a
Oh
little bit.
God.
I mean, I say this again, considering what we had last year, Dak Prescott is an upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
But if they put $60 million in Dak Prescott's hand, they're gonna be unable to do a lot of the stuff that the Raiders need to do to get good again.
Okay.
I'd rather roll in with Aiden O'Connell and this improved defense that the Raiders have than to give a so-so quarterback $60 million.
So let me ask you. So if so they letting him play out the year, he hits the market.
Mm-hmm.
What is his market value? Is he getting the same
$60
thing?
million.
He's somebody's really. You think somebody's
Yeah.
giving him that?
Someone
Wow.
gave
Kirk
Daniel
Cousins.
Jones $40 million. That's for me forevermore. That's the standard. If Daniel Jones can get $40 million for being butt awful, then I can't argue against any quarterback getting paid anything because
I mean, that's the Giants though. The Giants don't know no better. Jamal know that. The Giants don't know better. They don't know better. They don't know how to draft quarterbacks. I mean, the only reason Eli Manning ended up there because he wanted to go there.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to play with the Chargers. That's the only reason he went there. But they don't know how to draft quarterbacks. So
Phil Simms.
that's so long ago.
I know, right? How far back are we going?
I mean, we going back that far? Like,
Yeah.
seriously? So, I mean, but like the recent evidence, they don't know how to draft quarterbacks. And even if one fell in their lap, they wouldn't know how to treat it because they don't know how to put players around them.
Here's the deal. I joke on Daniel Jones, but the truth is, every time a quarterback gets a new contract, that fill in the blank quarterback becomes the number one paid quarterback in the history of the NFL, and we've seen it go over and over again. And there's very few guys who really deserve that kind of status. Like you said, Patrick Mahomes definitely worth every penny. Lamar Jackson, okay, he's done enough to show you that he can get that money. Joe Burrow, when he's not hurt, deserves that kind of money. Unfortunately, he's always hurt, but that's not the point. We're just saying there's some guys on the field that show you they deserve the paycheck they get. I haven't seen Dak Prescott be that guy who really deserves $60 million. There's no way I'm paying him that kind of money, but I guarantee you someone in the league will.
Let me ask you this: if you was the Cowboys GM, owner, whatever, do you draft a quarterback this year?
Yes, 100%. I stand by my statement. Well, unless they're going to let Trey Lance sit there, learn, and become the guy. If you believe in Trey Lance, I probably get rid of Dak Prescott today.
See,
you know what I'm saying? And let that go. But
that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying the same thing. So, I agree.
But if you don't believe in Trey Lance, then I'm definitely signing the quarterback. Because I go by, get a guy while you still have a guy. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And so I'm trying to remember back. Was Dak Prescott an undrafted quarterback?
He was
a late. He was a late
draft pick,
right?
Fifth or sixth round, something like that.
It's not like you can't find a guy. You can just go look at San Francisco. You can find a guy late, and they can still produce if you find the right person. So for me, I don't give Dak Prescott that kind of money. I draft the guy this year, or I go with Trey Lance this year, and see how one of those things work out. Because they don't want to hear it, but the Cowboys aren't winning the Super Bowl anyway. So why pay him $60 million and, like you said, not be able to pay the other guys that are coming up for contracts, especially CeeDee Lamb, and then be in the same place you were last year and the year before that and the year before that?
Jamal, they don't have a fourth round pick. They traded their fourth round pick for Trey Lance last year. So they don't have a fourth round pick at all. Yeah. So they can't draft. My thing with that is, if I'm the Cowboys, from a financial standpoint, this year alone, because I don't have salary cap to do nothing, I'm trading that contract to somebody that can afford it, and I'm letting Trey Lance start. And because think about this,
you've got an awesome offensive line.
Yeah,
you've got the wide receivers that you need there. I take a chance. It's not like a couple of years ago they weren't trying to boot Dak Prescott out the building anyway when he was throwing all those interceptions. Who's the doggone backup that won a series
Cooper
of games?
Rush.
Yeah, Cooper Rush. They were all ready to get on the Cooper Rush train. So it's not like they don't believe that they can be successful without Dak Prescott.
Well, this is the thing. Cooper Rush, Dak Prescott, and Trey Lance all are on 1 year deals, basically. They have 1 year left on all their deals. So my thing is, if you're trying to think about it from a money standpoint, Trey Lance, Cooper Rush are cheaper to keep in the long run. Let's put Cooper Rush to the side for a minute. Trey Lance, younger, he's a younger, bigger quarterback, faster quarterback. If you put Trey Lance in there, let him do whatever this year. Say he go out there, they win 8 games. They win 9 games or whatever. Yeah. And he played well enough to say, all right, we seen something in you. We can give you a $20 million contract, $20 million a year. That's a big difference from 20 million and 60 million. That way you can sign a Michael Parsons, a CD
Mm-hmm.
Lamb, and you can. They don't have a running back. That is crazy.
Yeah.
They have no starting running back right now. So therefore, you can use that money for other pieces. And they lost two offensive linemen this year.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. You got to rebuild a line. You got to rebuild your running game, and you need a second receiver because you don't have Brandon Cooks anymore. So they have other stuff they need. It's like I would go financially.
Uh,
I would go that route.
are they in a rebuilding year and they just don't know it?
They just don't know it, but they keep saying this that they're all in, but
Yeah.
they don't have nothing to rebuild. They literally are going to go through the draft and start a bunch of rookies this year
Yeah.
from the draft because they have to, and that's the thing. But because of Dak's contract, Dak has a clause where he can't be traded,
Mm-hmm.
he can't be cut. It's nothing you can't franchise him. You can't do any of that. So at the end of the day, I will go with that route and see
Yeah.
what you got in them. And if you got something, give them a cheap contract at the end of the year and let them be a starter for the next 2, 3 years until you figure something out. I mean, that's what I would do.
Yeah. Jamal has the question: where do you rank Dak amongst quarterbacks? And my question would be: are we
Is
talking
it
about Dak as a quarterback or Dak in fantasy
fantasy
football,
football?
knowing that he can throw the CD Lamb?
Yes.
because if he can throw with the CD Lamb, and I know this for a fact, I got Dak Prescott easily in my top 10, uh,
Mm-hmm.
maybe top
Top
eight.
six, maybe
I don't know if I want to
six.
go six.
He finished number one last year.
Yeah,
You know that,
I
right?
know, but
I'm
I
just
still,
saying. I'm just throwing that out there. Just putting the business out there.
I hear you,
I'm just,
and
he
I
said
hear you.
both. He said both. In fantasy, probably 6 to 8,
Yeah, I think that's fair.
somewhere around there. In real life though, ooh, that's a tough one there.
Look, Amari Cooper got booted from Dallas for saying that Dak Prescott is the black Kirk Cousins. I think that's fair.
That's,
That's about. I know he meant it as an insult, but that's about where I have Dak Prescott as a quarterback.
yeah,
He can win you games. He's solid. Don't get me wrong. He's a solid quarterback. Is he great? No, he's
no,
not. He's not great. He's good enough that you could win a championship with him, but neither Kirk Cousins or Dak Prescott have won a championship because they're not they're not elite.
well, I'll say
They're
this:
solid,
you
and it's
can't
hard to
really
find
say,
solid in the NFL.
but you really can't say Dak has never had a really good team.
Oh, he's been surrounded with
He's
talent.
been he's been
Yeah,
surrounded with great players. Matter of fact, they had 9 or 10 Pro Bowlers last year
yeah.
on that team. So at the end of the day, he's been surrounded by great and good teammates. So I don't think that's the issue. So now if you're
No,
telling me you had 10 or 9 Pro Bowlers, you making 10. At the end of the day, if they move you out and put somebody else in there and they win more games and they go further in the playoffs, the problem is that Prescott. It ain't the Cowboys. So it's hard to
the
rank them.
problem is not only Dak Prescott. The problem is Jerry Jones and the guys he keeps bringing in. I'm not believing they have the right coach there either.
You would never have a right coach
Yeah,
with Jerry
you
Jones
can't
because
get the right coach because of
you
Jerry
never have him.
Jones. Yeah,
You never have him because Jerry Jones wants to be. Okay, prime example. Jerry Jones traded for Trey Lance without the coach knowing or the quarterback knowing, and they found out from Sports Center.
mm-hmm.
So that lets you know that he's not going to talk to the coach at all about nothing. He's going to make the decisions on who you draft, where you draft them, what players to look at, because he's the coach, GM,
Yeah.
assistant, whatever you want to call it. He's everything and above there. So he makes all the rules. So therefore, you have no input. You just have to coach. That's why Jimmy Johnson never stayed longer than
Yeah.
he did because he
Couldn't.
wanted control. But he
Yeah.
wouldn't give him control because he wanted to be control of everything. They're not gonna win until he's gone. That's just if you want to keep it a buck. They're not gonna win anything until Jerry Jones is out of the door.
Yeah.
I promise you.
I'm
I'm
not.
just
I'm not gonna argue against that at all because they have a culture problem. I mean, the Cowboy fans will keep believing this is a year because hey, they do spend that buck to get a good team there. The team is loaded with talent, like you said, and Pro Bowlers everywhere, but they don't have the winning culture as far as in the playoffs. They're going to be really good and then get bounced in the first round, maybe the second, because they're going to come up with an actual team with actual coaching, and they're going to get exposed for who they are. But they got some nice guys for your fantasy squad. And that's
let me ask you this: the CD Lamb, and we talked about this before we came on the show. Do you think CD Lamb touches the field for $18 million?
Okay.
I'm asking. Like, think about it.
No.
All right then.
What?
So you see him holding out? You see him not playing?
I am. When I was a younger, unknowing guy, I always got mad at holdouts and whatever. For me now, like, every player should always hold out for money, because especially if you're a running back, you know. For me, hold out every time your contract up. I want Brock Purdy to hold out, except I know he can't because his contract won't let him until next year. But always hold out for your money, because these owners are dumb and they just keep throwing money at players. So yes, I'm holding out for the bank every time, because you will get it.
Okay.
History has shown you, yeah, they will eventually cave.
He was like, "What? No, I'm not getting on the field."
No, I'm not getting on the field for that little bit of. It's hard to call 18 mil a little bit of money.
A little bit of money, but yeah,
But,
I get what you're saying. I get it.
I don't do it at all.
I
Pay
get
me.
Nah.
Look, before you pay that bum that Prescott, you better pay me first.
Because you're making Prescott
I guarantee
look good.
Exactly. They're going to be that Prescott is not successful if CeeDee Lamb is not there. So you better doggone pay him if you're going to pay $60 million to that, because you're not going to get your money's worth without CeeDee Lamb.
Yo, that's crazy. Oh man. Speaking of CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk. Now, I'm the resident 49. Oh, go ahead.
I see or you end up the Le'Veon Bell. Hey, but Le'Veon Bell did get his money.
Yes, he did. He got his money a year later.
Look, it didn't work out after that.
No. Oh no.
But yeah, okay. You go. You're back. I'm sorry.
I'm the resident 49er here.
Fan, expert.
But I want to hear your take on that. What do you think? What's going to happen? What do you think should happen, and how you feel about the situation as a whole? Like,
look, see also CeeDee Lamb. I'm I'm holding out for my money. Look, that's my new motto in the league. Just get your money, because the whole they playing with paper money anyway. None of it's real. So get what you can get. Here's the thing, and I've said this to you many times since last year. The 49ers better win a Super Bowl, because they've got too many people to pay. And if Brandon Ayuk doesn't stand in line to get his money today, it ain't going to be here later. He's going to end up hitting the free agency market anyhow if they don't sign up to it. So for me, I'm waiting to get paid, because I don't take less than 28. Did you say 28 is what Debo's getting?
28, yeah.
Yeah, that's my number. Don't talk to me until you hit 28.
I tried to explain this to somebody that the last 2 years, and people, I'm just a 49ers fan. I don't know much, but the last 2 years, Brandon Ayuk is the better receiver out of the two. Just period. Just the last 2 years.
He's a pure wide receiver. Debo is like a Swiss Army knife player.
See, but the problem with that is when you have CMC, you have Debo.
CMC are Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. So right. CMC and Debo are literally the same player.
Yeah.
Literally. So you have two of the same, and you're trying to keep them on the field at the same time, but you can't do both with them. So at the end of the day, you got to pitch a play here for Debo. You got to run a play here for CMC. But with Brandon Ayuk, he's the fourth option behind Kittles, who gets about 4 targets a game. Yeah. He's getting about 3 targets a game.
Unless it's the Super Bowl.
Unless it's the Super Bowl. That's the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like for him to get only 75 receptions and 1,300 yards on those 70, he outplayed the targets he was getting.
100%.
So, um, I think he deserves to get his money, and I don't know if we're gonna give him his money because the 49ers have a number, which is
Mm-hmm.
around 23, 24 million, because they want to keep it in that window of, okay, we got to keep all our players, but we got to you
Mm-hmm.
got to stay within this price. And the thing is, are you saying, look, I ain't trying to hear that. I'm an all pro. I'm better than, and he's not gonna say this on live
Yeah.
or on TV, but probably in the home in the crib by himself. Man, I'm better than Debo. You see what
Huge.
I'm saying? I'm better than
Yeah.
Debo. I had my numbers are better than Debo. I've been better than Debo. So
He
therefore, I
does more
deserve
with
more.
less. Yeah.
Yes. So he's probably saying that. And his agent is probably saying that to the 49ers. Look, this is what your man did the last 2 years. This is what my guy did. Something ain't right here. Y'all pay him $28 million.
Mm-hmm.
We got to make something work here. Um, I just feel like if he goes to another team, he's a guaranteed 100 catch receiver
Yeah.
on any other team.
Jamal asked a good question. How do you know he's not just producing because everyone else? Like, is he Juju Smith Schuster, who's great as long as Antonio Brown's on the other side of the field? But, when you're asked to be the man, can you produce?
I believe he
What
can
say
be the
you?
man. He can be the man. I think
Uh,
he is the man now. Debo has had less than 900 yards. Well, less than he had 800 this year, and the year before he had 700. So you can't say Debo is the reason why they winning. I mean, what has he done? Like, so he hasn't stayed healthy. He's always hurt. I mean, every time you turn around, he's limping. So, and for you to say they can't win without Debo, well, what happened in the Super Bowl? Oh, he got hurt. I forgot. Yeah, he hurt his ribs. Remember that play when he was on the sideline and couldn't come in the game no more? Yeah, I remember that because he was on the sideline. He can't. That's the thing. He's always hurt. When you need him, he's hurt. So what's the problem here? Oh, his numbers when he was out, he put up 100 a game. I can send them to you. I do know that. I watch the games.
yeah.
So that's what I'm telling you. He produces when Ayuk is not there. But that ain't the problem. The problem is we're a run first team, and you can't produce when you only get 3 targets a game.
Yeah.
He averages 3 to 4 targets a game. Now, if he got 8 to 9, that's something different. Then we can have an argument here. But not when you're telling me you're getting 4 targets a game, though. You can't sit here and argue when you're getting 4 targets a week and you're turning that to 75, 85, 100 yards and a touchdown most weeks. I'm just saying. People don't even scratch the surface of that most weeks, by the way.
They had a 3 game skid when Debo's not playing.
But
I would say that also
that wasn't
coincided
his
with
fault.
Trent Williams not playing.
That was
And,
Trent
and
Williams
Trent
not
Williams,
playing. That was
yeah,
also
yeah,
Brock Purdy can't play in the rain. So
yeah.
so that was more than just Debo. That was more than just Brandon Ayuk not producing. That was the fact that probably Purdy had his worst three bad games in that stretch.
Didn't I say last year Trent Williams deserved the MVP more than any quarterback
Yes.
in the league? Trent Williams was the MVP
Pete.
because
Yes.
he made Brock Purdy into a superstar.
Yes. So when you lost Trent Williams, and I've been telling people our O line is trash,
Yeah,
especially on the right side. So when you lose Trent Williams on the left side, the line is even worse at that point. So you have no line to block. And then we played in the rain, which was an excuse for Brock Purdy because he can't palm the football. So at the end of the day, so you're trying to blame that on Brandon Ayuk because he couldn't get the football to him. Last time I checked, the receiver don't throw to himself. I'm just saying.
that's what Gazelle said.
Jeez.
Yo,
Bro, watch more football.
oh wow, we got personal.
Because you can't come at me with stupid questions like that, bro.
Oh
Like,
wow,
you gonna ask me a dumb question like that? What happened in 3 games? We talking about a guy who can't throw in the rain? Okay, bro.
Jamal, I
Yeah.
like your questions. Ouch. But yo, the truth of the matter is, we get being serious. Brandon Ayuk is a still we another one of your crazy 49er fan people did who you lost money to off Brock Purdy last year. We got into a discussion before last year's draft about how good Brandon Ayuk is, and I would say on any other team than the 49ers, Brandon Ayuk would be a superstar. Because number
Bingo.
one, they wouldn't ask him to block as much. Because remember a
Thank
couple
you.
years ago when Shanahan had Ayuk in the doghouse because he wasn't
Doghouse,
blocking well. I was like, Brandon Ayuk should never block.
bro.
What are you talking about? But in y'all run first system, that's an important thing to do. I think Brandon Ayuk could go somewhere. Hey, one of the potential trading partners I saw was, especially because they're at a serious need now, if Buffalo tries to make a trade for Brandon
Yeah,
Ayuk, team him
that
with
would be.
Josh Allen, and that
Oh
that
yeah.
that would be something phenomenal to
Hmm.
see. Brandon Ayuk has the route running skills. He can he's one of the Yak brothers. You know he can. I know he can get open because I can see how he moves when he has the ball. I think he's a serious threat to be good. He's limited by
Yo, he
where he
is funny,
plays.
yo. He was like, "Listen, man, I need Brandon Beach." You know you my guy Jamal, but you can't tell me.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is this. So think about this now. Um, what I was about to say. He's stupid, bro. Yeah, I just lost my whole train of thought messing with him. Um, the thing is this, Brandon Ayuk,
Yeah.
you can't like the great Chad Johnson said on this on with him and Unc on the TV show. He
Mm-hmm.
said receivers don't get paid to block; they get paid to catch.
That's why the word is receiver.
That's from
Uh huh.
a receiver
Yeah.
himself. We don't get paid to block; we get paid to catch and run routes. That's what they get paid for. So
Mm-hmm.
you're paying Debo $28 million to block. That's a bad investment
Mm-hmm.
because basically that's what you're paying Kittle to do. You're paying Kittle $20 million to literally be an extra lineman
Yeah.
because the O line is trash. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. Hey, I call it like it is. I'm glad to be back though.
Hey.
I had to get this on my chest. I'm just saying. Love all of y'all. Do.
Hey, I'm gonna make a jab at you because
I don't care.
I've been waiting for us to get back on. Are you healed over that Super Bowl yet?
I was fine the next day. I told you. I knew what happened. We stopped
uh,
running the ball and bro, it's obvious if you watch the 49ers. Okay, go back to the first 2019 Super Bowl. We were up by no, I'm just saying,
yeah.
think about this. We was up by 10 points and we were running the ball. We were doing well running the ball. And what he decided to do, oh, Jimmy Garoppolo, we want you to win the MVP. He let Jimmy Garoppolo throw the ball 25 times in the second half. He did the same thing with Brock Purdy. We stopped running the football.
They,
Christian McCaffrey had 17 carries, bro.
they for some reason stopped going with what works.
Thank you.
Yeah, because
I
Kyle
was
Shanahan for the third time has lost a huge lead in the Super Bowl. So
I wasn't upset because I sat
yeah,
there and I watched it and I say we're gonna lose because you want to keep throwing the ball and on third down you want to 35 or what third and two, third and three, you want to throw the ball on third and three,
yeah,
knowing that he went like literally in the third quarter he went completely cold
yeah.
in the third quarter. He couldn't complete a third down to save his life, but you would not run the football with Christian McCaffrey, who literally got us there. I'm fine with that. I'm not, look, I ain't upset with nobody. We deserve to lose on that cause because at the end of the day, that's coaching, bro. That is coaching. It comes down to coaching at the end of the day. So he gonna continue to make the mistakes because he does that. That's what he does.
I feel you.
But
Let's see. Did we leave out anything?
let me see. Did we leave out
Any big
anything?
any big free agency moves or NFL news that we left out? Let us know in the chat.
Oh, let's talk about the before we go. Let's
Who
talk
do we
about
leave
the
out?
kickoff rule.
Oh,
Let's talk about the kickoff rule.
I'm trying to decide whether I
And
think it's dumb or awesome.
now I have a question though.
Yeah.
How does that affect fantasy?
here's the deal to me. I think the NFL has been actively trying to. Oh, Jamal says it. We talked Stephon Diggs earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Big move for the Texans. Bad move for Josh Allen. So C.J. Stroud goes up. Josh Allen goes down a little bit depending on what happens in the draft. Um, but the NFL has been actively trying to remove the kickoff. Because even last year, I don't think the kickoff had a big effect for fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
This year, it
It
actually might
should
get
though.
better, right?
It
Yeah, that's
should.
like
Yo, I was thinking. I read the
if you have
rules.
if you haven't watched the XF, not no, then that have you speaking of it? That's something.
You fail.
Have you watched the UFL this year?
A
I
little bit of it,
I
not
did
much.
actually watch parts, not a full game, but I watched
Mm,
parts of two different games.
okay.
And getting to the kickoff, I think if you've seen those games, the kickoff could be interesting. I think there's a reason you saw the Chiefs pick up a rugby player
Hmm.
in the all season. Um, it could get interesting. It could
I think
definitely get
honestly,
interesting.
I really think because I'm showing my age here, but
Yeah,
I think back in the day, Darren Sproles was like probably the perfect person
mm.
for this new system.
Yeah,
But he was really good when it didn't have all these rules.
yeah,
Um, and basically, Darren Sproles, if you don't know who Darren Sproles is, just go back and check
yeah,
any type of fantasy books or whatever back in the early 2000s. Darren Sproles was really, when you say top five running backs at the end of the year, Darren Sproles was one of them, and he probably got picked in the
yeah,
fifth, sixth, seventh round, something like that. But just his catching out the backfield, return yards, punt return, running a little bit, everything he did, he just made himself a valuable asset at running back in fantasy.
yeah,
So I say that to say now the rules, because I read the rules a little bit, the line, the offensive side and the defensive side can't move
yeah.
until the returner catches the ball. So basically, returner gets a head start
Uh huh.
on the offense and the defense, and the kicker can't cross the 50-yard line until the kicker
Yeah,
return guy touches the ball. So basically, I think returns because they say they want to get returns up
yeah.
more.
Because people stopped doing it because everyone just kicked the ball out the back of the end zone, and people weren't doing kick returns. So this is sort of a way to try to get some of that
Yeah,
action back. Yeah.
and I think is it a penalty if you kick it out of bounds?
Yeah, yes, that's
It's to
still.
the 45
I think that's
yard,
such a. Yeah, I can't remember 40
the 40. I
or
think it's the
is it the
40.
40?
Yeah, I think it's the 40.
No,
But I think I like the new rule. Now,
I think
I
it's going
think
to be
it
interesting to see it in effect. Yeah,
I think it affects fantasy a lot, bro, to be honest with you.
no,
Because if you play in a defense, well, if you play in a league with defensive players, right, and say that cornerback is the return guy, the punt returner, the kick
yeah,
returner, whatever. Um, because they have so much free running room now, just say he gets three returns a game and he's averaging about 25 yards, 30 yards per return. That's points that can be added up to what you already can get from the other stuff you do.
yeah,
So I really think it's a good thing for fantasy, and I think it kind of changes the way you think about certain players in fantasy. Like I'm not gonna tell you what I want to do, but I do have a player in mind that
no. Tell us who to pick up.
no, I'm not telling you. No,
That's the whole
no, not
point of the
even.
show.
No, 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 no.
Give,
I'm
give,
keeping this one on the chest. Nope.
give us the
Keeping this.
inside tips, man.
No, no,
That's
no,
why
no.
people watch. That's why Jamal is still here.
Jamal not to call me. So, I can be reached. I'm
Oh,
telling
you wild.
you.
Um, the only counter is you still got these guys with big legs who can get the ball out the back of the end zone
Yeah,
and neutralize some of this. But I think in cases where people might have previously settled for a touchback, that running start might. I'm going to be interested to see how it goes.
yeah, me too.
So yeah, I like the new rule overall, but I still on the side of I don't like a lot of changes. I like things. For instance, I think Nita mentioned baseball earlier tonight. because but going to changes, they keep
Mm-hmm.
adding. They're trying to change the way the pitch clock they now have goes to the
Mm-hmm.
ball, and these things are to make it more fast paced, make it more exciting. For me, at some point, the sport is what the sport is. Let's not keep changing things to make it new, modern. I'm the old guy. You got it on the porch saying, "I remember when."
Well, I guess
And
if you want to look
so
at that, they
yeah,
trying
stuff.
to,
Yeah,
especially for baseball, they're trying to draw in
yeah,
kids,
yeah.
younger adults, whatever. So I get it from a baseball standpoint, but I feel like in the NFL only changed the kickoff rule because people were getting hurt. Just the
Yeah.
collision of running down the
Look,
field.
football is all about getting hurt. That's like
That's
80%
true.
of the
That
game.
is true. I agree with you on that.
And it's not like
So
these guys aren't still getting hurt because hey, let's put the over under on what's the injury we kept hearing last year? Not ACLs, but
sprains,
sprain. Yeah, yeah.
sprains. Oh gosh, but it's like they don't take care of themselves in the off
Yeah,
season.
they
That's players' problem, though.
yeah. So they say it's for safety reasons. I don't buy any of
Okay.
it. So we'll see. But
Yeah,
I am looking forward to seeing it. It should at least, I think, be better than last year.
I think so too.
But I'm still waiting for you to tell me which player to pick up. I
I'm not
call
gonna
you.
tell you.
I call you after the show. You
We're
tell
gonna
me.
talk about this show, but I can't. Look, I might tell it later, but right now I'm just not gonna tell it. I'll tell it when they get close to the draft. Matter of fact, I'll tell it after the draft because somebody's still up here that we got a draft with. So I'm just not gonna tell them.
It's useless information after the draft.
That's fine. That's my point.
Anyway.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Nah, but it's good to be back.
It's great to be back. We won't
Definitely.
be here next week. I got some stuff I gotta do in another time zone. But we'll be back soon, and we'll keep following us on our social media. And
Yes.
you'll be up with the newest information. So Nita, since you didn't know this week, make sure you're following us on Facebook, uh, Twitter, Instagram.
Instagram. Yes.
My look, text me.
All of
You
us.
know my phone number, and we'll definitely make sure you stay in the loop. And if you haven't already, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and just
Tell your friends.
help us out so so we know you're watching. Tell your friends, of course. Hey, grab
Friends.
someone to tell them just to subscribe to R and J.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, watch us, like us,
Hey, Jamal, you my guy, dog.
subscribe.
I'm gonna call you. All right, man.
All right, peace out, everybody. Love y'all. Have a great
All
night.
right.